Alright. So, when we encountered this the first time, all we had to do was turn to the left and it happened immediately. Like right there. Maybe we have to look around enough. So, I don't know. Quick double forward? I mean, maybe. No, it really comes the moment we step there, doesn't it? A nearby boulder impact, that's what it's called here. We're being alerted that we're playing in adventure mode. Could it have been because we had the cloak going or something? I don't think so. That wouldn't help us. It doesn't dissolve us physically. Or walk back once so you're 2 squares away and forward once? Maybe? We're at a corner right here, right? So we could walk this way. Then turn back. Then go this way. Then turn left. But if we can't proceed, then no clue what we can possibly do. We can use the arrow. Or the bowl. I don't know. Or we can leave and visit, the art studio. Very good. Could it be that we had visited the knight downstairs before? I mean, it's the only thing I can think of to try. But they wouldn't make you do that, would they? Don't know if there's anything else we could do with the knight downstairs. I'm gonna check these doors again just to make absolutely sure we didn't miss anything last time. Well, this is a time game. The smash should happen because time, unless you vitally change something just by existing in this time. Yeah, maybe. Let's see if we can survive getting stabbed or not quite maced like we did before. Then we get out of there, then we look up, because that's how we go back. We're here, we go here, then we go here. Well described, Lexi. Nope. There's no way to do it. Alright, well, I think the game has decided for us. Let's jump. That's really a shame. There was so much more we could explore before. I don't want to have to look that up, but I will if we have to. We're in Italy. All right, let's look around. This good old music. This is nice to come back to. I bet there's a biochip at home or something. Our house is much bigger than our last apartment, and we can look up and down. It's possible. I didn't read the walkthrough in the manual. We can see if it has anything for us. But now I'm going to be even more thorough about looking than last time. And goodness, are we going to search for that evidence again? There's the open floor. Right. There's the candle. It's always there. First of all, let's paint. Okay. I forgot to look for the evidence. Should I use a different method this time? Locate. All right. Now we're just tracing all of the structural elements. Underbars are pretty good. They pair well with a thorough hovering of the cursor. I'm occasionally clicking, just not knowing if it's supposed to do anything or not. It's hard to be much more thorough than this. So what is this evidence of? These are clues that relate to our conviction, we think. Because they are objects that don't belong in this time period. Evidence that someone planned to frame you for something? Possible, yes. That's the kind of thing I imagine anyway. Okay, so we can do this, and this, or that and this, and then we can turn this guy. Gage Blackwood, you're arrested for crimes against time. We can't grapple this. Crimes Against Time is my new band name. Exactly. Okay, so let's say we set it to down. We keep it at free, because we think that's how this works, right? hear the bleep again. Can we not go in this time? Why not? This isn't where we go in? We go in over there. Why can't we candle anything? It's called a candle. And there's just nothing here that we can do. Can't grapple the candle, can we? Swing across the open pit for fun? Can we... Did I try this before? What if the idea is you put this to up? Didn't I try this before? This to up and this to down. And that means that you can use the wheel in the middle. Nope, apparently not. Alright. Thus ends all of my ideas, I believe. There's nothing else that I've wanted to try that I haven't yet. So I think we're going to start to... I'm sorry to... It's devolving to this, but we're going to make this a... Let's put the menu up. The point at which we have to look something up. But as usual, we will start with the minimal help needed. I'm going to scan the walkthrough section of the manual and read that out loud. Okay, getting started. This is meant to be read by players of this game, so it's not too much of a giveaway. Once you've gotten used to looking around, turn to face the round greenhouse-like room and press the forward arrow button. When you're directly in front of that room, turn to your right so that you're facing it. Look down. An opening will appear and the forward arrow button will highlight. Click the forward arrow button. You will be moved forward into the room. Turn to your right and walk forward once. Turn right again and look down at the seat. Move the cursor over the object you see there. The hand cursor means you can pick that object up. Click on it with the mouse button held down. Drag it off the bottom of the view screen, let go. You just picked up the remote control. That sounds like nothing we've done. So I think that is what we will try and do next. And Lexi, I would say that would be a point for you being right. And I didn't even read the whole thing. So we left a remote control under a seat. Hey, get up. Get out of there. There we go. Why not go home if we can? So what is the greenhouse-like room? Is that the dome with the staircase encircling it? I'm guessing, right? Okay. Press the... Wait, the forward arrow button. Oh, that must be this, okay. When you're directly in front of that room, turn to your right so that you're facing it. Look down. Ah. That's how we get in. Alright, well, I'll close the manual for now, because we have something. Well, do you blame me for not finding that? I guess we would have found it eventually if we'd looked around thoroughly. Is this our environ system? Seats over there, seats over here. Guess we need the manual again. Okay, turn. You'll be moved forward into the room. Turn to your right and walk forward once. Okay, now we can go forward when we're looking straight ahead. Okay. Turn right again and look down at the seat. The hand cursor? There it is. There it is, the remote control. Click the inspect button. Alright, let's put the manual away again. Inspect button. Remote control. This is the remote control for the high-res Environ Omni system. The remote access allows access to over 1,000 terrestrial channels and hundreds of Symbiotry satellite stations. However, the batteries are dead. Great. Will there ever be a use for that? Hang on, let's put the inspector away. And click it. It does nothing. Yay, another one of those. Alright. Let's walk around a little more. Is this the direct control? So we have All Sat and Environ. Let's go with Environ. Can we not use it because we're under house arrest? There it is! Our faithful Environ system. And we gotta have waterfalls. No animation though, just photos. More waterfalls. No jazzy music. When you have music like this, what else do you want? Yeah, it's almost a bit of a step down. The Apartments was a bit more cutting edge, and it's been 10 years since then. Okay, what else? All Sat? The free sound, I think, possibly. Is this where the folks who wanted to interview us? More background. All right. That one seems important. Let's learn about it.
INN will return after word from our sponsor.
The soon-to-be-released Geno, A Fond Remembrance, is Volume 4 of G-Tech's Rock Through the Ages collection. Never before has there been a video collection that captures the many moods of Geno Andrews.
Yeah.
You'll hear the melancholy Geno.
So many songs about the rain.
The rebellious Geno.
When you're selling yourself, sell the price to pay. When you're selling yourself, make it somewhere.
Yes, the carefree Geno.
It's been my dream to be a traveler of sorts, to visit all the kind.
And of course, the lovesick Geno.
A song for her is all she wants from me.
All of his chart-topping videos are here, brought back from the archives of the past and completely remastered in stunning 4D sound. In fact, Geno, A Fond Remembrance is the most complete collection of Geno's hits ever compiled on one EC. Call our toll-free ShopNet line now and receive a free sample from the upcoming EC that's bound to be an instant classic.
We've got to call them.
Geno, A Fond Remembrance.
Depends on the ad. Are we not going to hear our news story?
The ongoing saga of Gage Blackwood took a frightening twist this morning when the agent of the Deep Time Unit broke house arrest to jump 9 years back in time. Fortunately, the illicit time jump was detected and he was immediately apprehended by Agent 8 of the Temporal Protectorate. Although it's still not clear how and why Blackwood obtained the TSA jumpsuit, Temporal Security Agency officials did say that no distortion ripples have yet been detected, and that there is no reason whatsoever to believe that Blackwood has altered history in any way. Our Lisa Long has a report from TSA Administrative Headquarters.
In a strange turn of events that can only be described as unimaginable, the highly decorated Gage Blackwood, better known as Agent 5 of the Deep Time Unit, has been arrested and put on trial for the crime of historical sabotage. We apologize for the lack of trial footage, but because of the sensitive nature of the material being presented, no recording equipment has been allowed into the tribunal wing of the United Ministry Complex where the trial is being held. The drama unfolded 3 weeks ago when Agent 2 of the Temporal Protectorate discovered 4 distortion ripples while conducting an unscheduled historical scan. As it turned out, the dates of the ripples exactly coincided with times to which Agent 5 had been sent for research purposes. The agent immediately contacted his supervisors, and on their orders, 3 agents were sent to apprehend Agent 5, who offered no resistance. Later that day, more evidence was found in Blackwood's locker, suggesting that he had disobeyed Temporal Security Agency directives for personal gain. Unless deemed absolutely necessary, the TSA will not send agents to investigate or restore the distortions, as any further tampering with history may cause adverse effects, possibly even turning the ripples into full reality distortion waves.
Whoa, there's a lot more here. All right. Let's go for the prosecution. Before we do that, I think I'd like to inch the volume just back up to where it was last time. Just a slight difference.
Prosecuting attorney Phil Stevens alleges that Agent 5 intentionally altered the past in 4 of the 10 time zones to which he had been sent for research purposes, his only apparent motive being personal gain. In so doing, Agent 5 would have knowingly violated Temporal Security Agency ethics, as well as the law. As temporal sabotage in any form is considered the worst possible crime against humanity, Stevens is aiming for the maximum allowable sentence. The burden of proof lies on the prosecution. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Gage Blackwood was responsible for the distortion ripples. There is strong evidence working against Blackwood, including both computer records that place him at the altered historical locations and contraband that was discovered in his locker. But the evidence alone is not enough to ensure a conviction. With this in mind, prosecuting attorney Stevens has directed his questioning toward eliminating other possible explanations for the ripples. Witnesses for the prosecution have included Agent 2 of the Temporal Protectorate, the TSA's chief technician, and the designer of the circuitry for the jumpsuit.
I wonder if Agent 2 is our friend who left us the message. Oh, wow. This kind of makes me wonder whether we're going to have to make a move on the grounds, on the on the trial stage here. Agent 2, that doesn't look like our friend. The investigation began when Agent 2 of the Temporal Protectorate ran an unscheduled manual historical scan, a procedure normally performed twice a year to reveal any anomalies missed by the scanner's faster but less sensitive automatic scan mode. Agent 2 discovered a temporal ripple that originated in the year 1050 AD, indicating that someone had gone back to that time and affected a historically important object or event. That'd be Chichen Itza. He soon found 3 more ripples in the years 1204 AD, 2247 AD, and 1488 AD. Fortunately, none of the changes were serious enough to cause a full reality distortion wave. We can't click on these red terms, can we? No. Whoa. Yes, we can. Amazing. Lexi has been saying, I guess because it makes it possible for unknowable and drastic changes, but I would argue someone not being born is slightly less bad than unaliving an alive person. Perhaps. Yes. We know about temporal anachronisms, yes. Let's read this anyway because it's interesting. Distortion ripples. Temporal distortions are the result of anachronisms or temporally inappropriate items left in the past. The evidence that we should be looking for, I think, are examples of such things. There are two basic types of anachronisms that can cause temporal distortions, simple and effective. A simple anachronism is a very minor alteration to the past which has no noticeable effect on history. For example, spilling water would be a simple anachronism, as it would likely evaporate before anyone were to take notice of it. Such minor distortions do not represent a threat and are caused by even the most careful of agents from time to time. Tom says, someone not being born is also wasted potential of what could have been, though. Yes. From the point of view of the future as it has played out already, someone not being born, the consequences of such might be weighed differently. I can see that. Tom also says, game in playing has the inventory button mapped to tab, and I hit caps off, and I see. Lexi, hee, I use caps lock for all of my capital letters, so I do that often. Oh, that's right. Of far greater concern are effective anachronisms, of which there are two kinds, limited and expansive. While their effects to history are not great, limited effective anachronisms are the result of more significant changes to the past. These changes are usually more enduring than simple anachronisms, but their repercussions, known as temporal distortion ripples, fade with time. As they do not affect, misspelling, anyone greatly enough to alter the course of history. Expansive effective anachronisms, on the other hand, are changes to historically significant events or items that have major repercussions. These anachronisms cause reality distortion waves or chain reactions that grow with time, making sweeping changes to history as they do so. If a reality distortion wave should ever reach the present, those who aren't uncreated in its wake will suddenly find themselves with new lives completely unaware that anything had ever been different. Both types of effective anachronisms are to be taken very seriously, as the most likely cause of such disturbances is deliberate historical sabotage. Yes, that's nothing really new, but it is interesting, and I'm impressed that it's this well documented in this game. Continuity and plot holes are, among whatever weaknesses these games might have, are not found. They updated it so keys can be remapped. Oh, that's good. Oh yes, the earlier question from Lexi. That is a morning star. Yes, that was my impression. What other definition did we miss? Right, we know about this. How thoroughly should we be reading here? Let's stick with the last story that we were on about Agent 2. So the Agent 2 was running a regular scan. The agent then realized that the ripples exactly coincided with several of Agent 5's, not even capitalized? Oh, we don't even get that much respect. Research mission dates. Agent 2 reported what he had found and was subsequently sent after Blackwood along with Agents 3 and 7. Oh, Agent 3 was coming after us? Our friend? And did we think that Agent 7 could be our friend as well? Don't recall. They located the suspect in Tahiti, where he was spending his day off, and apprehended him without incident. Following TSA protocol, they then brought Agent 5 to the United Ministry complex where he was arraigned and later released to house arrest. I see. So the gauge from the future that visited us and recruited us had previously been to Tahiti and apprehended there. Chief Technician might be our friend. Prosecuting Attorney Stevens called the TSA Chief Computer Technician to testify based on his knowledge of the Chronolog scanner array. The technician testified that the Chronolog scanners were designed to detect any illicit time jumps, and are monitored at all times by a member of the Temporal Protectorate. Yet to his knowledge, at no point during the period in question were the scanners ever offline or performing improperly, and at no point was an unsanctioned time jump detected, a fact corroborated by the security logs. So either he's telling the truth, or he is our friend and he falsified this. Circuitry designer. Miss Marjean Chow was called to testify based on her knowledge of the time displacement unit or jumpsuit for which she designed the circuitry. When asked whether it was possible for someone else to have used Agent 5's jumpsuit, Mrs. Chow said that security precautions mandated that only one person be able to use use each suit. She went on to explain that each jumpsuit is coded specifically to the DNA of the agent who uses it, and will automatically self-destruct if tampered with. Part of that was not new to me. Okay, computer records. In addition to the computer records which document Agent 5's research activity, the video log reports made by him during his research mission jumps definitively place him at each of the altered historical locations. The files were not made available to the press. Accidentally put on someone else's suit, dead. Maybe that's one of the reasons you get a big, plainly marked number on the front, as the interface shows at the right there. Alright. Physical evidence. An inspection of Agent 5's locker revealed one valuable but not historically significant object from each of the 4 altered time zones that he was sent to. The 4 items included a gold ornament from Chichen Itza, a jeweled orb from Chateau Gaillard, a sketch from Leonardo da Vinci's studio, and a signed document from Kenneth Farstein's lab. That was the basis for framing us? Alright, all of that was the prosecution case. I think we're going to wrap this session up then by completing the defense and editorial sections, and if we want to stick around a little longer, maybe we can watch some more TV if there still is some. But otherwise we'll come back knowing that we have plenty to look at next time. We could have used our whole first session on this if I'd known how to enter this area.
In
Defense.
the absence of an alibi or any evidence proving Agent 5's innocence, defense attorney Sandra Gallagher will be setting out to show, through the testimony of character witnesses, that it is not likely Mr. Blackwood committed the crime. If the defense can elicit some doubt of Blackwood's guilt, he will go free. Witnesses for the defense will include Agent 3 of the Deep Time Unit, Agent 8 of the Temporal Protectorate, the Commissioner of the Temporal Security Agency, and Agent 5 himself.
So I wonder if Gage came to us because the trial had already played out and he was found guilty. And that's when we were recruited. So Agent 3 is speaking in our defense even though she was sent to apprehend us the first time. And the commissioner of the TSA, isn't that Baldwin, or is it no longer Baldwin after 10 years? And apparently we testified on our own behalf as well.
The defense has not yet had the opportunity to present its case. However, we have contacted both the chief technician and commissioner of the TSA to ask them their feelings on the arrest of Gage Blackwood. Neither Agent 3 of the Temporal Security Agency nor Mr. Blackwood could be reached for comment.
Page forward to see interviews. I guess we'll find out whether the commissioner is Baldwin or not.
With us now is William Doughton, the TSA Chief Technician. He joins us live from the Temporal Security Agency Administrative Headquarters. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Doughton.
Thank you, Mark.
You've known Gage Blackwood for many years, and I understand that the two of you are good friends. Do you think he's guilty?
Absolutely not. The thought that he could be guilty never even crossed my mind. I mean, friend or no, here you've got someone who's dedicated his whole life to protecting history and now stands accused of violating it. That's ridiculous. And if you don't believe me, look at his record. The man's a decorated hero. You can't overlook that fact just because it doesn't fit neatly into the story the prosecution's trying to sell.
Isn't it true you testified that no one else made a time jump to any of the altered historical locations?
No, actually I testified the scanners didn't register anyone making a time jump to those locations. But computers are only as intelligent as their human programmers. Now, I believe it's possible that someone could have shadowed Agent 5's jumps. If a second time traveler were to make a jump within a few seconds of the first into the same location, the chronolog scanners probably wouldn't recognize it as a second jump.
Have you been able to test this theory?
No, not yet. It's too dangerous. If two people were to travel through the same null time tunnel and land in the exact same place, well, their matter would mix and that would kill them.
And you believe that someone found a way around this?
It's possible, yes.
Okay, well, thank you for your insights, Mr. Doughton.
He's got an interesting little case there, trying to sow some doubt for the defense. That might get you someplace. As a point of interest, I think Doughton reappears in Game 3 as well. And if so, he is also played by somebody else, as is Gage. And it's very interesting to me to see this actor playing him here. I don't know why they didn't just use different characters if they didn't have the same actors. And here I was just praising the game's continuity. Anyway, he's looking happy. Let's see if Baldwin's here, though.
I have with me now Commissioner Jack Baldwin
Hey, there he
of the
is.
Temporal Security Agency, who's coming to us live
He's going to defend us,
TSA
right?
Administrative Headquarters. Commissioner, thank you for joining us. Now, the first and most obvious question is, are you confident in your arrest of
He's looking
Gage
tough these
Blackwood
days.
as the perpetrator of this crime?
We had to arrest Agent 5 because of the evidence, not because we think he did it. There was an obvious transgression. Someone was responsible for it, so we arrested the person to whom the evidence pointed. Now it's up to the courts to determine whether or not he's guilty.
So you believe he's innocent?
Absolutely. I've known Gage ever since he joined the TSA. In fact, I'm the one who recruited him. Gage Blackwood is a member of an endangered species. Gage Blackwood is a hero. He has put his life on the line many times to prevent this exact thing from happening. There's absolutely no way he would have abused his position at the risk of a single life, let alone history as we know it. Now, it just doesn't make sense.
Mr. Blackwood has been an agent for quite a while now, 13 years, I believe. Is it possible that the temptation just became too great for him to bear?
No. Gage is as committed to his duty now as he was back when he apprehended Elliot Sinclair. He was, and he is, our finest agent.
Okay, let's assume for a minute that he did do it. Knowing that he would be facing life imprisonment on Vega Thalon, do you feel that he would plead guilty?
First of all, it's a moot point because he didn't do it. But, presuming he did, knowing Gage, I'd say he had a damn good reason. And he would have confessed immediately. He wouldn't have pretended innocence, not for 1 minute. Bottom line, Gage Blackwood is no criminal. Gage Blackwood is a hero.
Okay, Commissioner, it looks like we're out of time. Thank you.
No wonder he's an anchor. He gives you the sign-off face. Well, it was nice to see Baldwin again. Lexi, you seem to think that he's not the man you remember. He's using his assertive face. But he seems to have more faith in us than he did at the beginning of the first game, so that's good. Nice to know we have him on our side. Alright, so now we get to see what the news agency thinks about all this.
If Blackwood is indeed guilty, he has altered more than just the past. The future, too, will likely feel the results of his actions. The Deep Time Unit will probably be discontinued before ever realizing its full potential. But there is an even greater issue at stake. That is whether the Temporal Security Agency itself is more of a risk than a safety measure. Many feel that it should be shut down and everything related to time travel destroyed. Others argue that the technology has already been invented, so there's nothing stopping it from being reinvented for the wrong reasons. So in their opinion, the Temporal Security Agency must remain operational to safeguard against future acts of historical sabotage.
That seems apt.
Gage does what is right. I know for a fact
I can't really devolve it, can I?
I know for a fact. He panicked and confused me in an altered timeline, and I respect and trust him for that.
That's as close as I can get at the moment.
I just don't have what it takes to be commissioner of the temporary security auditor. But I'm working on it.
Anyway, so all of that was just one topic. Louvre auction. Thank you, Lexi. Okay, so this might just be good surrounding, information. The Sinclair incident 10 years later, interesting. Anything should bring that up. Is it just a retrospective? Documentary? Maybe that's to brief us. And the auction here, it seems like that could be a motive that could be used against us if we had these incredible historical artifacts. We could just be trying to make a ton of cash off them, couldn't we? Let's look at this one and see what it says.
INN will return after a word from our sponsor.
Oh. Great.
Cheese girl!
Is that how we propel ourselves to Saturn? Wait. Didn't Gage describe his solution to that particular problem as cheesy? Don't suppose we can interact with this. Also, a C with a cedilla is apparently the form of currency, which is interesting. Point.
In a last-ditch effort to stay afloat, the Louvre Art Museum held an auction of unprecedented scale yesterday. The museum was forced to sell off many of its older collections to pay off creditors and to raise funds desperately needed for renovations to the facility. In a fervent display of support, the art community rallied around the historic landmark, showing that the museum itself is every bit as valuable an artifact as any of the works of art it contains. The auction was an astounding success, raising 138.5 billion credits, easily surpassing the 100 billion credit goal. This windfall was due in large part to one generous bidder who preferred to remain unidentified. Martin Walker is standing by with a live report from the Louvre.
Thanks, Mark. I'm standing inside the historic Louvre Museum in Paris. Behind me sits one of the few pieces to survive yesterday's extensive art auction. Items up for auction included artifacts and works of art from many of the Louvre's oldest collections, including the Da Vinci exhibit, the ancient Egyptian, and Toltec Mayan exhibits. 4 particular items were snapped up by a generous bidder who paid much more than the asking price. The bidder's identity is unknown, but it is assumed to be an art enthusiast who didn't want to see the Louvre shut down. There are rumors, however, that the buyer may actually have been acting on behalf of another race in the symbiotry, which, according to the Earth History Preservation Act of 2322, would be illegal. We're told an investigation may follow. Museum sources that I spoke to speculated that the revenue from the auction will be enough to keep the Louvre in operation for at least the next 5 years. However, they warned me that the price of admission may go up in order to help cover operating costs. A small price to pay for such a wealth of human history and culture.
Did you catch that? Aliens are not allowed to appreciate Earth art. So that was interesting. Wasn't quite what I was expecting. Thanks, Mark. Apparently, 4 artifacts at least two of which sound like they could have come from our own mission locations, were bought at this auction. But the evidence that was used to incriminate us, which are such artifacts, don't seem to have been... yeah. Mentioned as anything that showed up at the Louvre or anything like that. So could it have been that this mystery buyer bought these pieces of evidence from this auction to use as incriminating evidence against us? Couldn't they have been scanned for temporal something or other? And apparently the buyer had something to do with an alien race? Are we being framed by somebody outside our own species?
The Louvre's financial difficulties arose from a combination of rising maintenance costs, overspending, and lower than normal attendance. Several costly acquisitions in recent years sunk the museum into spiraling debt. When repairs to the facilities became unavoidable and visitor attendance fell, it became clear that a major influx of cash was needed to cure the museum's ills. In June, the decision was made to auction off several of its older exhibits. That decision paid off well yesterday.
Isn't acquisitions misspelled there as well? Anyway. Lower than normal attendance when you can go anywhere on the planet practically instantly. Exactly.
The 4 items that the unidentified bidder purchased included the Toltec Mayan ceremonial coffer, King Richard the Lionheart's sword from the Crusades, Leonardo da Vinci's Codex Atlanticus, and an interactive sculpture entitled Self-Awareness, credited to Kenneth Farnstein. Attendees of the auction said the buyer did not try to purchase any other items, but immediately made an excessive bid on these 4 artifacts as soon as the bidding opened.
Are they the things? They all seem similar, but not identical. Isn't that right? The item from the Crusades was, I thought it was something like a bauble or something. Yes, they're from the areas. And the Da Vinci item was a sketch, not a codex, right? And the Kenneth Farnstein thing was a document. Not sure whether that would have been an interactive sculpture. No, it wouldn't have been. So somebody bought these things. Why? Would they have wanted to place these things in the mission sites for some reason? Like swap one item with another? Very mysterious. And maybe these things are the pieces of evidence that our, biochip is trying to alert us about. Okay, we'll be done with that for now. Lexi says, Richard Lionheart is, of course, the king who went on crusades and whose brother John was made a villain in the Robin Hood stories. I see. I did not know that offhand. We can only go forward from here? Or we can stand up, I see. One more theory about the evidence chip. What if the evidence chip was scanning and in fact did successfully scan something and just made absolutely no indication of it, and I haven't pressed the review button since successfully scanning it? What if that's what happened? So we're going to try and press the review button. Come on, anything. Nope, no evidence collected. Use locate function to identify evidence. Okay. So I think I've been so thorough about that I may, before next time, look that up just to see whether I'm doing it right or whether the game is doing it right based on what I was doing.